Doing some of these kind of single leg squats, I guess you'd call them. I'm gonna hold on to the rack here for a little support. And this bar, safety squat bar, is really nice for this because you don't have to really hold on to it much. So here goes. This is something Cal Dietz showed me years ago, and I want to develop a little bit better strength in my legs. So rather than trying to overload with real heavy weights on like just for something like squats, I figured I'll do some kind of single leg stuff. Well, here we go. Get up on the toes a little bit. Lots of sandbags over there. Decent range of motion going here. Well, that's as high up as that goes. That's weird. It's like stuck on something. Trying to get a good stretch on those benches. Locked and loaded. Backward sled dragging. Build up the quads. Build up all the muscles around the knee. The great thing about a sled is anyone can do it. Anyone that can walk, even just a little bit, can drag a sled. And anyone can attempt to even drag a sled that's like 5, 6, 7, 800 pounds. Not have to worry about injury. It just won't move. Forward sled drag, building up the hammies, building up the calves, building up that ass. I really like having my whole foot hit the ground, kind of drive the heel through, rather than like just being on the toes and leaning forward a lot. Just feels better to me. Feels like I'm more connected to my hammies and my glutes. kind of interesting when you do single leg. There's with the exception of being on a machine, there really is no single leg. You know, Bulgarian split squat, even like a single leg RDL, where your other leg is like up. It's like, I still think that there might not be tension on that other leg in that case, but I still think it's hard to work kind of singular body part when it comes to lower body, unless you're on a machine. So you got to realize that, you know, we're doing these like lunges and all this kind of stuff. This back leg is still getting worked a ton. In this case, this back leg is still getting worked a ton. And we forget, we only see the knee over the toe in the front part. But what about the back part? Like, look at how far the knee can't go any further over the toe on the back leg. And both are getting worked. And that's even how you get up off the ground, is that you learn to use both legs. And for some, they might need momentum, they might need to push a little bit. But if you're not going to push, then it's good to push with both legs. So I'm not just pushing with this. I'm not just going to like only lean that way and push like that. Just push with both and you're right back up. Unfortunately, a lot of people have banged up knees, and so that might make that super challenging. Another great way to get some kind of single leg stuff in is to do a step up. But again, you're still going to be landing on the other leg most likely, and so you're getting a training benefit and a training effect on both legs. But just stepping up onto here, for me, this height is like, it's a little bit of something, so I might as well just do a couple reps before I do my squats. It's like, what does that movement train? Should have trained to everything in the lower body. Training the groin, adductors, abductors, training all around the quads, training the hamstrings, training the glutes. And you'll find one leg is way easier than the other for some reason. And you can try to learn why, try to figure it out. Kaboom.
This is the way you do it if you're Joel Seaman.
He's poking me.
Gotta get you ready.
Don't use that to poke me though.
Come on.
Get the balance going. You can poke me with something else. Wait, what? It's good to get yourself out of these kind of tough spots. Something to think about just in workouts in general is how many like total reps do you really want to do with stuff? How many total sets do you want to do? And like, what's the overall impact of that on your day-to-day? So a lot of times when you start a weight training program, there's usually like, if you're lifting weights, there's one area that really gets slaughtered. We don't think about it that much. And it's usually the elbows. Everything has to do with like the elbows. Everything has to do with your grip, but it doesn't have to be that way, because you could do other exercises. You could do other things that don't involve that, but that takes some training knowledge. So a leg press, a hack squat, maybe like sandbags and things like that. Like obviously picking up a sandbag or a stone or something like that still requires some forearm, but it's not the same as doing rep after rep after rep on like a seated row. Seated row is a lot of elbow and forearm. Bench press, a lot of elbow and forearm. Overhead press, a lot of elbow and forearm. I think it's a good idea to be conscious of these joints and how they move. It's also important to think about it on even exercises like this. How much activity are you getting into your knees? We probably need a certain amount of activity to have our joints to be healthy and to get the nourishment that they need. But many of us also move improperly, which causes tons of problems. And so if you're moving improperly with a weight, then you could be causing more harm than good. So make sure you know how to make sure you learn how to do the exercises correctly. Make sure you learn how to move properly. Make sure that you're not lifting with and through injury all the time. Would be another big factor. But just think about your steps. Think about each and every joint that you're working. How much is it getting worked, and through what set of exercises? Like, do you want the wear and tear of your knees to happen simply from dragging a sled all the time? Well, it's probably not going to happen from dragging a sled, is my point, is because the sled lends itself to you utilizing modest weights with a form and technique that's repeatable to do over and over again and get a lot of blood flow to the area. You get to strengthen the area without too much compromise. So think about each exercise you do. How much risk reward is there with each exercise that you do? This will probably be my last time through, because I'm going to run a little bit later today. And today is Monday, the start of the week, and I'll probably run tomorrow and the next day after that and so on. So don't want too much wear and tear, but want to get a good stimulus. See if I can go actually, I'm going to reduce the weight a little bit. The weight doesn't seem that challenging, but I'm doing this range of motion. When I'm at the bottom, I'd like to be able to come up a little faster. A lot of stretch in my hips on this wider stance. Let's try a little bit of med ball stuff. Med ball stuff is great, I think. Another kind of great movements. Give yourself time to get used to them so the risk to reward is low. If you just go and pick them up and start ripping them, probably gonna hyperextend your back or like pull something slightly. So just take your time, get to learn them. Do them like a wimp. First couple times, you pick one up and maybe say you slam it against a wall. Just slam it super light, like just literally just go. Be a little wimpy. And as you get used to it, you can start to put more into it. Flex more into it. Flex your butt as you come around. Good way to sneak in some rotational stuff. Also a good way to get outside and get some sunlight. Chomping on some gum today. I got some of that like resistance gum going. This brand is I think called Gum of the Gods. I'm also fasting today, so I used some fasting gum earlier today. And now I'm chomping on this, which gives your jaw a workout. I just kind of always need something in my mouth, you know what I'm saying? Incline curl, again, I think great exercise for the elbow, great exercise for the shoulder. It's a good bicep movement. Russell, buddy!
Pal, I didn't want to get in on your shoot. It's going to go around.
Get in on my poop shoot?
Oh, goodness.
Yep. What's going down?
I'm just loving life, pal. Absolutely loving life. Hi, Ryan. What's up, Russell?
You got to work out with your son yesterday?
I did. Yes.
Good.
Yes, I did. He asked for it. He said, Dad, do you want to work out?
That's great.
I was like, heck yeah.
You had to run outside and scream for a second and then conduct yourself and then say, yeah, I'd enjoy that.
I had to go through all the anxiety of saying, I wasn't really planning on that. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
I had a great time.
pick up stuff. Let's keep it super simple. There's no rhyme or reason to a lot of the workouts I do. And there kind of never has been. It's always been like what I enjoy, what I like, mixed with a little bit of what I need. I saw recently the bodybuilder Samson talking with Sam Sulek, and he said, you're lifting too heavy. You don't need to lift that heavy. Why are you doing that? And Sam Sulek said, I like it. It's really what matters most, is that you like it. Over every single thing else. Over the science, over being cautious, whether you like it. Now, obviously there's like drugs and alcohol, and maybe we can get too addicted to fitness, and you'll have to kind of figure out how to navigate that when that time comes. But if you like doing something, don't let anybody tell you that it's wrong. If you like it. When I was younger, that's what I love to do, is lift heavy weights. And the way that I lifted the heavy weights, yes, I learned the form and the technique, but the actual program and stuff that I did, it didn't always really make a lot of sense. It was like, how do I challenge myself with something I love to do today in the gym? That was the magic of it. That was the science of it. That's about as far as it went. Whatever the exercise was for the day, I just kind of lifted as heavy as I could for that day, and that was that. So, if you like it, lean into it. Big advantage, or maybe disadvantage, of picking up something like a sandbag is how much bending you have to do to try to get down there. And you see a lot of these strongman guys are so athletic because they're 6'5", 6'6", and then there's Thor, right? He's like 6'11", and they're able to still get down to these stones that are super low to the ground. So it just presents a different type of challenge. You know, a barbell for a deadlift would be like here, be right at the top here, which is kind of convenient. You bend down, pick it up, no problem, right? But this, you have to figure out how do you get underneath it. And for me, you're going to see that I don't have, you know, great mobility to get down there. And so I have to just do what I can do to get down there. But the other thing I like about this exercise in general is that it really helps. It teaches you to bend your spine. It teaches you to round your spine, I should say. And for me, rounding my spine is a capacity that I actually lost, because that part of my spine like just doesn't really move much anymore, and I'm working on it. I'm trying to get all that to open up, all those pieces to open up. So why not do some exercise like this to try to you know, simulate that. I'm just going to pick this up. I'm just going to plop it on this thing here. Oh, yeah. And by no means is this some super heavy implement, but it's got some weight to it, and it'll be challenging for me. That's really all that I care about. So, wide stance. I like to try to roll my hands underneath a little bit, pick it up. I'm sure the internet has a bunch of different ways I should have picked that up, but here we go. Bah, boom. There we go. Pick it up. Put it down, and do it again. Do a couple reps. right away felt that a little bit in the hammy and the glute, and that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. I think it's showing me that I don't think this bag weighs much over 100 pounds. It shows me that this is something that would be great for me to work on. Boom. Things like this, you don't need a lot of reps with. I'm gonna do one more, and I'll go back and continue my circuit. That's my form on that. I know it probably needs work. That burned like crazy. Woo. Got one over here, it's a little heavier. I think this guy, maybe. This guy's definitely heavier. Try to keep my step count pretty high most of the time as well. I don't always track it, but when I feel like I'm laxed a bit, I'll make sure I get in like 15,000 steps. 20,000, what I've learned, is a little too time consuming. If I run more often, then it just happens anyway. Or if I run a little further, makes that whole process a lot easier. But this is a good way to get in your steps and your workout at the same time. This could be all the lower body training that you do. I swear to God, I think that the sled is that powerful. I guess we could say, like, it might be a good idea to get some sort of hip hinge or some version of like a squat. But I think your leg training could easily consist of some sled dragging and some sprints and be done. No leg presses, no leg extensions, No squats. I don't think you need any of it really. If you had a sled and you sprinted. You could always also do both. Nice option. Train athletically and aesthetically. Same time. Train for a little power. Kind of mixing a lot of things. Feeling it. It's kicked in. Every step's hard now. Whew. Feels like somebody's stepping on it back there. Hips are burning like crazy. And fuego. Oh. I feel like my butt wants to cramp up. Great exercise. Butt, hips, hammies. If you're pulling the sled backwards, a little bit more quad. It was a great feeling. Really good for the old ticker too. You guys seen me before, dragged a sled for like 10 minutes straight before as well. But you can pick any time domain you want. Just make it appropriate with whatever weight's on there. When I did that 10-minute walk, I just had the one plate on there. That would be super challenging to pull that for 10 minutes straight, even though it's just an additional 25 pounds. Pretty brutal. But that's our stealth sled right there. That thing's badass. Doesn't make a crazy amount of noise. Hopefully doesn't bother your neighbors, make them crazy. But great product, great way to get some awesome training in. That's my training day for the day. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness never strength. Catch you guys later.